Look what we got, guys. First harvest from our garden. Well, a corn harvest. Let's see how it looks. Look at that, Melanie.
That's really good size.
Oh, nice. Oops, I dropped some on my feet. We're going to have corn tonight. Organic, non-GMO corn from our own garden. Now, we have been harvesting a lot of different things from our garden so far this year, and I'm making a mess. I'm going to have to vacuum again. And corn is just one of the many things. And we're going to show you a garden update here in a bit and show you what all we have been eating from our garden this year. It's a late garden, but it is becoming productive. And oh, fresh, clean, pure sweet corn. Oh, look at that.
Why that has a different color?
Because this is real good corn. There's different varieties of corn. And this is the good stuff.
I like the light of color.
Uh-huh. Well, we're going to have corn tonight, guys. Look at the color, if you can see it, in that water. Coming off that purple corn. It's dyeing the water. There, we're cooking corn from our own garden. And here is what else we're having tonight. This is all food, entirely free, provided by either our garden or our neighbor's garden. So, pretty cool. Hey guys. Well, as promised, I'm going to do a little garden update out here on what we've been eating and harvesting. Besides weeds, the kale is producing heavily. We eat kale a lot here now and are constantly harvesting it. Melanie just harvested some more there. We have beans that we're now growing and starting to harvest. Very late in the year, but it was a really harsh climate this year. And we were just visiting neighbors 7 miles away whose garden is only just producing as well. And these little things, you know, I just weeded this out recently, but you can't eradicate them because they're coming off runners underground. But you can see here, the beans are only just now starting to grow. Things had eaten them off. New girly cat. So anyway, hey Gertie. That's the mother of her kittens. Happy as a Gertie cat. She cannot be ignored when she wants her loving. Yeah. Alright, I'll be back in a minute. And again, here's beans growing really well now. Our tomatoes are ready for, our potatoes are ready for the harvest, but we're leaving them for now, just till we're ready for them. We can dig them out as we're ready. Some are still growing, so we'll leave them alone. I'm not sure why. It's very odd. See, some vines have died off, and oddly, now we have new growth. Everything in our property and in our neighbor's place is starting to regrow like it's spring. And we have new growth here on plants that had died off. It's very weird. Here, a new potato plant coming up on plants that had died off. I'm not sure what's going on here. It's the weirdest thing this year. And boy, we gotta dig up some of these. Some of them were exposed from the heavy rains we've had. I don't know what's going on. It's very, very weird. And I'll show you around. And again, our neighbors even far away in town are having a strange year as well. It's like a second spring. It's very weird. So here we have some tomatoes. These are supposed to be Romas, but as you can see, they're tiny. So our tomatoes are very much off this year, and I think they're confused. I don't know. It's bearing heavily, but they're tiny. And this is you're going to see throughout our whole garden. Also, our neighbors had issues as well with the ones we just talked to today had issues with their stuff. But look, I keep trying to cover these and they keep being exposed by the rain, but we'll get to them when we're ready. Here's another one exposed. Oh, here's a whole mess of them exposed. Oh boy. Yeah. So the rains that we're getting is uncovering our potatoes. We're not ready for them yet. The corn you saw we're eating. We've been eating summer squash and giving away summer squash. A lot. Heavy bearing plants. There's a bunch here still to harvest again. I'll take them in a few minutes. Heavy harvest. You see the plastic laying all over because we have to cover the plants every night. And we're probably going to have a deep freeze tonight. Now here's a plant, I don't know what it's doing. That is purslane growing around it, which I did leave intentional because it is a food plant. The girlie throwing herself at my feet again. The powdery mildew is bad because there is no break in the moisture here. We have, besides a cat in our garden, we have acorn squash starting to bear heavily all over the garden. And there's a big one. And there's another one. So the acorn squash is starting to grow very well. We're getting a bunch of them this year. And that's a bonus because we didn't have much of that at all last year. The potatoes are starting to grow that didn't grow earlier in the year. They're starting to grow now. So we have another batch of potatoes coming along. We have this squash that Melanie planted growing all over the place. It's hard to see here, but they're throughout. And then here's something round. I don't know what that is, something growing. So things are really starting to grow. There's more summer squash, has to be harvested. And then there's those long squash things here. These are everywhere. And then we've got, I'm not sure if it's a pumpkin or a watermelon growing, is just starting to try to grow. But sadly with all the rain, this powdery mildew is really causing devastation on the plants. I might hit it with some baking soda and water and see if I can save them. And here we've got a bunch of those long squash plants. So whatever they are, we're gonna have a bunch. There's more growing in the middle. Yeah, I'm gonna spray this stuff and see if we can save them from rot. Tonight we're gonna have to cover it. So this front garden has just kale, beans, peas, and potatoes, corn, and squash plants. So that's this front garden. Oh, and over in the compost bin is some really bushy potatoes growing from compost. How funny is that? So they're growing. We're gonna have a harvest in the compost bin. My mulberries, the trees regrew as if it's spring again. They completely regrew new leaves. It's incredible. This one over here, then over here, and our roses we planted completely are regrowing. Oh, look at that. All new growth. Here, look at this mulberry that had dropped all its leaves. Look at this. It's incredible. All new. We have like a second spring this year. Everything is, and again, this is not just us. This is at other people's homes too. My neighbor has dandelions. It's so weird. He has dandelions all through his yard. I've never ever seen dandelions except for the fall, or the spring. So this is bushing out nicely. Really good and healthy. The only tree that never really did do much this year was this one. Bugs had got to it, and there's only one branch growing. And this apple tree, or whatever this tree is, just growing in the middle and nowhere else really. Now our other mulberry tree has some leaf curl. I don't know why, but this is all new growth. That's all new growth on here. These were the only leaves that didn't fall off, and the rest is new growth. Now over here, our mustard is going to seed. It's time to harvest. Most of it, I'm going to harvest that and bring it in before the seed pods open up. All these are the mustard seeds in these pods. So we have to harvest them and we can make our own mustard. I don't think it makes sense though in the future. Here's some going to seed. I don't think it makes sense in the future to try to grow your own mustard because it takes a lot of mustard plants to grow your own mustard. Like what you put on sandwiches. Another kale bed. Here, I had this all weeded out. And this rain is just, the stuff is growing and growing and growing and growing. Here, look at the beans are spiraling up and climbing. Finally, climbing the posts. See this? It's finally starting to grow. And I come out here and I just come out with my hands and pull out handfuls of these things. And every day, every time I come out, I go through the whole garden. You can see they come up pretty quick, but the problem is their roots don't come out very well. And you can see we just come through here and just pull up handfuls, and then I get the stragglers behind. But they leave their roots in, and it's nearly impossible to eradicate these once they've established themselves. They grow underground with those runners. And every once in a while I get the runner and I'll pull the whole thing out, but it's really hard. They're really established in this garden. Again, you see I'm not getting any root, I'm just getting a strand, and then the rest, look at that. That all is connected to those runners underground. So you can't really get the weed out completely. So I'll go through here and I'll weed out the whole garden and come back in a couple days and do it again. Oops, that one Melanie missed. I have no idea. The beans are her pride and joy. I have no idea what that one is. I don't know if that's... Honestly, I've never seen such a thing in my life. I don't know what that is. I'll have to tell her about it. She's planted some interesting type of things this year in our garden that remind her of home. So whatever that is, I don't know. I wouldn't even know if that was ripe or not. See, our tomatoes are tiny and they're turning red. And these are not cherry tomatoes. These are supposed to be standard sized tomatoes. Look at the heavy, heavy fruit on that vine. Look at that. But they're confused this year, so they're very weirdly turning red before they're ripe. Very strange. So these are Romas, and you can see the small size. Here again, tomatoes turning red. They have too much moisture now, so that's a problem. Splitting open here, too much moisture, but they're turning ripe before they're grown. So the tomatoes, I think, is a loss this year. And then come on through. Oh, see, look at that. There, I got a root cluster. That was a new one. But this stuff, I'll probably, after I'm done with the camera, come out and do some more and get it all again. I'll get the whole garden out, weed these out. But while we're doing this, you can see something important here. Look at this. That was sandy soil. Alright, there's still a lot of sand content in it, but look at the quality of that now compared to how it was last year. And it smells rich. It smells good and fertile. Now, people, I don't know, I guess people thought I was putting sawdust on the property, but that's not sawdust. Alright, that's pine shavings and mulch. There's a lot of mulch in here as well. See, there's pieces of particles from mulching. There's here's still some leaves from that mulch pile from the compost. See? They haven't decayed from last year. So there's a mixture of leaves and composted soil and chicken waste and garden waste that's composted and pine shavings. It's a big mixture. Here, look at that. That's edible, actually. It's sorrel, but sure is aggressive here. It loves the acidic soil and grows very, very aggressively in our garden. So yeah, I'll go through and I'll eradicate it all again. But yeah, this is just a few days of growth. People think we're ignoring our garden. That's just a few days of growth. Now over here, we do have a very nice site here. I don't know if the camera can show it. The sunlight is awkward today. Look at this pepper. this is the green bell peppers. And here, look at that. Still got some growing to do, but we've got some nice bell peppers growing. This year is the biggest harvest of bell peppers that I've ever seen in any of my gardens. Late in the year, very late, and we're gonna have a deep freeze tonight, so I have to protect them. See that? Nice sized. But they're growing. That's bell peppers, all bell peppers. And those are, but they just are too small. Then look at this bush. Look at the size. This is 2 feet tall. Loaded with peppers. I'm not sure what they are though. Oh, here. This is the Hungarian peppers. Here. That's them. We've been harvesting these all along. And this is just loaded, these 2 plants here. 3, 4. This one's a mutated one. Very weird. It's funny looking. Here. Oh, sweet banana. It's a sweet banana. Look at the size of that. That one's going to go in now. I'll take that one into Melanie. But, beautiful. And then, got a cat. Here, we got some jalapeno peppers growing. We've got a bunch of them. We've been eating a few of them. And there's another one, and there's another plant. And these are all the jalapeno peppers here. So, really turning out nice. And this is, I guess somebody told us, is colored greens. So we're going to start harvesting this and eating it. And we've been eating a lot of Swiss chard and greens from our garden. If I can get over here without stepping on anything. I'm going to have to clip this and save it. What am I looking at? All these cabbage type plants. I think this is collards. Here's a cabbage. Now again, our neighbors in town, their cabbages are only this big. So they had the same problems as we did this year. Although the cold weather is going to do them some good. They'll be happier. But looks like we got a mixture of collards and cabbage type plants. I don't know if she planted broccoli or not this spring. But here, something going to seed. It didn't have a chance because it was too hot and it went to seed. But I'll keep the seeds and then we'll, I think that was a lettuce. Yeah, I'll let it go to seed and we'll keep the seeds for next year. Or let it reseed itself. But either way, got a whole mess of them growing here. And a lot more weeding to do again. So there we go. We have quite a bit of food growing in our garden. And some that won't make it. Now, garden video isn't complete without the greenhouse. We've been harvesting our herbs. We've got the lemongrass, which Melanie is cooking with. We've got basil, which we've been using, and it's still growing so nicely. Very good. This is the best basil I've ever had. Our 2 tomatoes died. They're starting to regrow some leaves, but the 2 main tomato plants died. It was a weird year. Our chamomile looks like it's starting a second phase of flowering. It had stopped and I thought it was dead. Now it's regrowing. Our radishes and stuff sadly bolted, went to seed, but it's not a loss. We'll keep the seeds. Oh, I see some worms. I'm gonna have to kill the worms. Worms become chicken food. Our pepper is still being attacked by aphids. I've got to hit it again. Our fig is beautiful. Look at that fig tree. The heat did it a lot of good. That fig tree is incredible. Our popcorn is growing. And I read in the comments somebody said that you can't grow corn in containers, but it's starting to put out pollen. So our corn is starting to grow, our popcorn. We might possibly get some popcorn if the freeze doesn't kill that tonight. Pretty cool. Our sage, we've been harvesting it and having teas and cooking with it. Oops, sorry, I gotta zoom out. And then the mint is just 3 foot tall over here. The mint has really bolted. Still eating tomatoes. I've got to harvest some. It's too wet, so they're really going wild over here and bursting. But I've got tomatoes over here and all the other herbs. Everything's really, really amazing here in this garden. Got some, oh, I forgot what it's called. It's a form of lettuce growing here. So really looking good. Our tarragon died, but our rosemary's still growing. This plant died. Those were not fully developed, but I guess we could eat them. But yeah, anyway, I wasn't getting enough water over here on this side of the greenhouse. So well, actually no, it has, yeah, it's this side is not so good either. The apple mint got attacked by aphids, and it really wiped it out in here this year. I might see what next year does, but I don't know. I might put something else in the back rows. The popcorn in here is just starting to grow, but it's too late. That won't make it in time. And then the aquaponics is going to be a video of its own, but the aquaponics is bushy, really looking good. Everything in there is really thick, and we've been harvesting food from the aquaponics lab already, so that's turning out very nice. Only problem with the aquaponics, but I'll do a full update on that. It evaporates badly in this heat that we've had. Well, there you go, guys. Updates on our food and the stuff we've grown this year. And there's more Swiss chard. We got to eat some more of that. We've been having a lot of salads and a lot of our own meals out of our own garden. With eggs, Melanie will take something out of the garden and whip it up with some eggs and some herbs and spices, and we'll have a meal with rice. So we are definitely eating a lot out of our garden. Well, thanks for watching, guys. This is Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project. Please like, subscribe, and share, and follow our daily videos as we strive to become fully self-sufficient and off the grid on a budget. Talk to you later.